And she said, will you be interested in opening a childcare facility with me? And I was like, yeah, because at that time I was still young and I was scared. We decided to open the business together, but when I went to look at a building, one of the landlords had said, hey, we're interested in you, but we're not interested in her.
Hey, it's your girl Nancy Red, and this is season 4 of Mompreneurs, where we celebrate beautiful Black entrepreneurs who are also amazing moms. Now, every week I'm chatting with my guests about how they are killing it simultaneously as a business mogul and as a mom. We're listening to their inspiring journeys and incredible advice. Now, today's guest is a great example of seeing what she wanted and going after it all the way. From fashion runways to car lots to classrooms full of bright young minds, Keanna Sanders' mompreneurship is all about vision, courage, and service. She's the founder and CEO of Sandbridge Early Learning Centers, a growing network of childcare facilities across Maryland serving nearly 400 children. And for over a decade, she's been committed to building nurturing spaces for young moms while also planning to franchise Sandbridge and become one of the world's leading childcare providers. But this single mom of two story doesn't stop there. She's a serial entrepreneur who's also giving back, having founded Baltimore Dynamic Women, which is a nonprofit that empowers women and girls through mentorship and entrepreneurship. Keanna, I am so excited to chat with you. Thank you so much for being here on Mompreneurs.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my goodness. Well, step one, if someone's looking at you, you are not what they're thinking when they're thinking of daycare extraordinaire. That's kind of one of the molds you've always been someone breaking. For those of you who are listening, you can go to our YouTube channel and see absolutely her gorgeous setup, her beautiful self. How have you navigated the different sides of you through your many, many, many years of mompreneurship?
Whew. Everyone knows that my first love is fashion. So everything that I partake in, any of my journeys, I always have this fashion mind or just create some type of creative ideas and anything that I touch, right? So with that being said, I have done a lot of things from in the fashion industry to working with children to working with stylish cars. So I just take those innovative ideas, I just turn them into one idea. So anything that I touch, anything that I utilize, anything that I can think of, I just use my creative techniques to tap into that industry.
Well, you have definitely done that in so many different avenues, so many different businesses, and it's really impressive. But it didn't just start with you, right? Your grandparents or actually paved the way for you
Yeah.
and your entrepreneurship, right?
Yes, my grandmother. So growing up as a child that had a grandmother that worked in the childcare industry, I was always around children. And I think that is what developed my love for children. I used to babysit all the time. I had the neighborhood kids, I had families, I had nieces and nephews, I had uncles' children, anybody that you could think of. So I used to love babies. So just being able to take that love for children and actually working with my grandmother helped me get to where I was today. She used to service a lot of single moms. So we would have children stay overnight all day long. And unfortunately, I wound up watching those children as well, right? So with watching those children and just, being a part of their lives is what actually helped me and developed me to work with children and to think about branching into the childcare industry.
And one of the things about business is you always want to separate yourself from
Yeah.
the others. And how
Yeah.
you came into childcare professionally is a really interesting story. But what I love about what you're doing with Sandbridge is you are a 24-hour facility. Anybody
Yeah.
listening to this knows, why on earth does childcare end at 6 p.m.? I just always wondered, why is there not something that's more readily available, more flexible? We are a more flexible world nowadays, and Sandbridge, actually, you are taking advantage of your canonical knowledge from what you experienced at your grandmother's house, and you are extending it into these real world streets.
Yes. everyone doesn't work a 9 to 5, right? And these days, everybody hustles. They have some type of side business going on, or either they're working 2 and 3 jobs. People have podcasts. People are doing a lot of stuff on the internet, and those jobs don't happen 9 to 5, 8 to 4, 7 to 3 shift, right? So a lot of parents need to know. We call it non-traditional hours, which are extended hours past 6 o'clock. So I do have one 24-hour facility. The rest of my facilities are open until midnight. So we're able to aid those parents and accommodate their schedules. You have essential workers. You have people that work for hospitals. Work at nursing homes. If you're a nurse, a lot of nurses are on a 12-hour shift, right? So they have to work those long hours. So I open my childcare facility to be able to provide those non-traditional hours, especially for single moms or um, families that might not have the help, of family members watching their children, or they might not have a grandmother that can come in and watch them children. So my niche was to create that type of environment so that I would be able to take care of those families.
It's absolutely brilliant and so helpful. It's so wonderful when you can be a mompreneur that is simultaneously providing a desperately needed service, but also making money. Because that's actually what your skill set is, right?
Yeah.
You are doing good work, but you are not settling for less yourself.
Not at all.
Why is that important? Because as moms, oftentimes we consider ourselves conditioned to give. Many people I talk to say it's hard to charge for the work that they do. What mindset do you have to get into to be able to recognize I'm doing good work, but I also deserve to live a good life?
Well, first you have to have a hustler mindset, right? And the reason I say to have a hustler mindset is because you got to be able to think fast and be able to multitask, multiple things. As being a single mom and having 2 boys of my own, which my youngest son is 16, my oldest son is 19. But being able to kind of juggle that, it's been a little hard. It's had a lot of challenges because both of my children were involved in sports. Both of them were in football. And so my youngest son is a quarterback. So trying to juggle that balance between, being a football mom, because you have to be get them to practice. You have to be at their games. You have to be a support system, and any sports mom would know how hectic that can be. So I just think with you, if you're a hustler and you're a multitasker, then you can do those things if you're persistent, if you're consistent, and you really set your mind to being able to do it. I don't believe that God can put any more than what you can bear. So if you're the type of person that believes in God and have faith in God and just really, really, really have a lot of faith and be consistent, I think that you're on a great path.
You're preaching to the choir. I think that's absolutely important. But what's so great is you continue to iterate, you consider to pivot and hustle. You had a youth background in in-home childcare with your grandmother, but that was farthest from the truth. You went into fashion, you dabbled in a bunch of different businesses. You actually were dealing in luxury cars, and a client coming to be a purchaser of one of your luxury cars made you realize, wait a second, there's a whole industry that's making a lot of money that I need to look into. Tell us that story.
Yeah, so I had a client that came and wanted a luxury car, and word of mouth got out there that talk to Keanna. Keanna can get the deal. She can get the car. She traveled all over to different states to be able to get deals for you. So once that client started spreading the word, oh my gosh, so many people started calling me because I've always had a hobby for nice cars. And so what I did was turn that hobby into a business. And then I sold that first car, and then once word of mouth got out, it was like everyone wanted exotic cars. And the good thing about starting a car business was I got to drive a different car every day, because all you had to do is slap a dealer tag on the car, right? So I was able to slap my dealer tag on the car. Oh my gosh, I was in so many different luxury cars. It was like heaven. Right. So many people started seeing me drive nice cars, and just word of mouth, and being fashionable and nice, put myself together well. That's how I got the clientele. And it actually inspired me to name the business Trendy Motors.
I love that. And so with Trendy Motors, someone came in And you have to see who can afford these luxury cars.
Exactly.
And you ask them, what is your business? And someone came in and said they did childcare. And you were
Mhm.
like, wait a second.
So I had a lady to come and said she did childcare. And I was like, wow, I used to be in that industry. I have some certifications in that industry. So we talked and we met. And she actually asked me to work for her. I probably worked for her for maybe like a month or two. Became a director. Was some things that needed a little bit of pivot in her business. So I was able to help her and get her business up and running. And she said, "Will you be interested in opening a childcare facility with me?" And I was like, yeah, because at that time I was still young and I was scared, honestly, very fearful to open a facility by myself because I just was like, oh, what if I can't do it? What if I'm not smart enough? It was all these what ifs, right? So I was able to sit down, talk to her. We decided to open the business together, but I later found out that she wasn't so good in what she did. And when I went to look at a building, a lady, one of the landlords had said, hey, we're interested in you, but we're not interested in her because her reputation wasn't, so good. So I went back to the drawing board and I prayed about it. And once I prayed about it, God was like, you can do this. So I went back to the drawing board. I talked to them. They wanted me as a tenant. And I actually opened up my first childcare facility.
Wow. And, the rest is history. You started with very few students. Now
Yeah.
you're up to hundreds. And you
Eight.
have this network. Yes, you started with 8 babies, and now you're up to about 400, right?
Yes, yeah. I started with 8 children and 3 staff at my Windsor Mill location. It was challenging. It was very challenging because I was the owner and director at the time, right? Because I was just opening. I couldn't afford to, bring on a new director, assistant director. As an entrepreneur, when you're just starting a business, the funds can be very limited and can be tight. So I just went in there. I did what I needed to do. Word of mouth started. People started spreading. Oh, Miss Sanders has a child care facility. Children started coming from everywhere. I wound up growing that business so fast. Oh my gosh, that maybe 3 years later, about 3 years later, I acquired the business. I bought the real estate as well. And then I had an opportunity to expand on a college campus because I had responded to a RFP solicitation. I won that bid, and then I just kept on expanding, and here I am today.
And actually talk about that so a lot of people that might miss the RFP solicitation. There's so many different ways to get funding for your business, so many ways to get clients, right? Of course, there is B2C, which is, hi, you have a kid. I have a childcare center. But what are other ways that you've been able to increase the cash flow in your company so that you can expand? Because you have done what a lot of people can't figure out how to do, which is continue to expand. Because to continue to expand means you need cash flow. Cash flow is not easy.
One of the things that I did to get cash flow is make sure that my teachers were credentialed and had the qualifications and the certifications. In Maryland, they have grants. And one of the grants is called the Pre-K Expansion Grant, and then they have a Pre-K Blueprint Grant. As long as you have credentialed teachers and you are at a certain level, which they call Maryland Excels here, and you do the application, you can be able to have an opportunity to get those funds. So I would encourage anyone that's interested in childcare, please make sure it's very important that your teachers have the accreditation, have the certifications, have them, take those extra classes to get the schooling that they need. You have a lot of teachers that go in and get an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree. That would be good to encourage them. Also go through the accreditation program. Once you go through the accreditation program, which is the highest level of accreditation that you can get in childcare, which is NACE's accreditation or Maryland Excels Level 5, complete those programs, because once you complete those programs, it can open up grant funding for you as well. I will also say to look at your state legislators as well. They're always giving out money, to help new businesses, startup business. They give out grants as well. There's also a child care funding program that you can look into. Again, you can go to the banks as well. I know it's a little hard for startups, but you got to start somewhere. So I would recommend doing those things.
Okay, so you're just naming off all of this wisdom. How did you collect it? Who was your mentor? Where did you get the guidance you needed to know where to search for ways to keep your business shored up and growing?
Really, for me, just through trial and error. I would say doing my due diligence, just looking into different programs. They have a Maryland State Department of Education site, and it's constantly new information that comes out. If you look into those programs, I think that's probably what helped me. Just talking to other childcare providers. We also have licensing specialists too that will, recommend certain programs to us. We have a partner. It's called Abilities Network. They provide childcare services and mentorship. So just reaching out there, just doing your research to see who you can partner with.
And it's interesting because you've been in the childcare business for how many years at this point?
I've been in the chip business since I was 16, and I'm 40. I'm 41 now. So, and I've been in the business since 16. So when I was in college, I'm gonna start with high school. When I was in high school, I got some of my certifications because I used to work at childcare facilities in the evenings. And then once I got to college during like spring break and summer break, I would go and get my certification. So by the time I was maybe 22, 23 years old, I had all my certifications in childcare, and I had graduated with my bachelor's degree and minor as well.
See, and so all of this is just knowledge that is so long standing. Even before you became a mom, your children were raised in childcare, but not someone else's childcare, in your childcare, right?
Yes, and that was the amazing part about it. I didn't have to send them anywhere else. I got to see them every day, even when they were at school. So I set up my transportation route so that my buses and vans could actually go to the schools where my children is, pick them up, and bring them back to my childcare facility. Every mom or every person doesn't have that luxury, right? So I made sure I incorporated it into my business model. So my children started my childcare facility when they were 5, and they aged out at 12. So I made sure that, I had them involved as well. So everything that I did, they did. If it was parent engagement, nice parent engagement activities, my children PTA meetings, they were part of it. So they got to experience those things with me as I began the journey.
And that's so important. That's why I do this podcast, because so many of us want to spend more quality time with our children while securing their financial freedom. How do they feel about this? How would your sons describe you, watching you grow, watching your businesses grow? You must be a really great mom in their eyes to have provided so much for them and to be working so hard.
Yes, I would. When they were young, I don't think they understood it, as well, because they're young. They were young kids, so they didn't know. They was just, oh, I'm at mommy's job, being as like a 7-year-old, 6, 7, 8 years old. Oh, we're going to mommy's job today. But as they got older, I know that they appreciate it now. Like I said, I have a 16 and 19-year-old. Both of my children work at my facilities now. So what I'm doing with my oldest son is I'm teaching him the business. He's a teacher. He's a before and after care teacher, and he has all of his certifications. So he has it in infant and toddler, preschool, and school age. He's certified. So I'm teaching him from the ground up. I always tell him that. He's like, Ma, I want to be an administrator. I want to sit in a big chair. No, not just yet. You're not ready for that. So I start them as aides. My youngest son is an aide. He usually works after school, or he'll work during the summer. And we teach them, give them orientation as an aide. And when he gets his certification as a teacher, we teach them how to do lesson plans. We teach them how to do curriculums. That's what my oldest son is learning now. Once he has a couple years doing that, then he can move to maybe a assistant director position, which is in between working with teachers and being a director to the assistant. So my dream is to create a legacy for my children. I'm about generational wealth. I want my children to be able to have something to fall back on, just in case they don't want to open their own business, or if they don't want to work for someone else, they have something to fall back on.
For one, there's such a dearth of African American men in education, in particular early childhood education. What is it like seeing your sons be such great role models for these kids?
Oh, it's wonderful. When I see my sons in the classroom and they actually, they say, Mr. Nicholas, because my son, well, his name is Nicholas Kyrie, so they call him by his middle name. So say, Mr. Kyrie, can you do this? Mr. Kyrie, can you play football? Mr. Kyrie, can you show us how to build a kite? When I see those things, oh my gosh, it's like it warms my heart. And my youngest son, also they call his name is Colin. They say, Mr. Colin, can you help me with this? And they're so good, especially my youngest son. He's really, really good with the children. So it kind of melts my heart when I'll peek in the classroom and I'll see them doing things with the children, or I'll see them picking up the children and taking them places. It just really melts my heart. So just
Well, it's so great because it's
see the
giving back
boys.
to the community to
Yes,
see them, but they're also hustling and winning at life. And
yes.
that's the catch 22, right? A lot of us are, on a struggle bus with our boys. Would you consider getting your credentials, encouraging young men to work with smaller children? Would you consider that to be something that parents should really look into and try to get their kids at least like an internship or something, because we have to come up with new opportunities
Hmm.
that often aren't. Not everybody is meant for a 9 to 5. Not everybody is meant to put on a little white collar outfit.
Yes.
We need to have alternate options that really speak to who we are, and our young men can be nurturers, and they're not often encouraged to be.
Yes, I would definitely inspire the young men for parents to allow the men to work with the younger kids. You have so many young boys right now that don't have father figures in their lives that really needs the mentorship, the guidance. You have a lot of young men that just don't know which way to go, right? So to be able to have, someone older, or to look up to a teenager, right? A young child look up to a teenager, like one of my sons, and say, oh, you can do this. I can be the next quarterback. I can be in the NFL. I can be the next baseball player, right? And to have someone that's actually doing those things and a young child look up to that person is amazing. That is what my youngest son is doing now, and the kids love it. And so I encourage parents all the time to, allow the teenagers to come in and help out with the little children, because they can relate. Sometimes they relate better to them than what we can, right?
Absolutely. I love that. And I think that's so important. So I hope anyone listening really thinks about this as not just a way to give back, but as a lucrative
Um,
career that's flexible and meaningful. Finding the meaning in what you do is so important. And so your boys are holding down the fort for the male role models, but you also have Baltimore Dynamic Women, where you mentor women and girls, right? Talk to us about what you're doing with Baltimore Dynamic Women.
So what I'm doing with Baltimore with Dynamic Women, I used to be a foster care mom. So I would take in pregnant moms and teens with babies, and I would bring them in my home, allow them to live with me, and help them with life skills, and allow their babies to attend my childcare facility. So in doing that, I said, well, let me see if I can create this organization. So I would do workshops and mentorship programs, allow them to be a part of them. Everybody wants to be a boss. That's all. Oh, I want to be a boss. I want to be a boss. That's their favorite word. So I would bring them in and I would show them the ropes on, what they need to do to be a entrepreneur. I would help them with business plans. I might help them with life skills. I might help them with just different aspects of being an entrepreneur. So being able to start that program was as excited. I didn't know it would go as far as it would. And not just the young girls, but also the women. You have women that are working 9 to 5 that want to come out of 9 to 5 jobs. They either want to advance to an executive level, or they either want to start their own business. So just being an advocate of entrepreneurship and being able to bring those women in and show them the ropes have been very rewarding. So that's what actually helped me and gave me the idea to start Baltimore Dynamic Women, because every woman is dynamic in their own way.
They just need someone like you to show them the ropes. That's why we do this podcast. Like I said, my family busted out of generational poverty with businesses, you
Yeah.
know? And my mom always said, all you need to start a business is a rag and get yourself a car wash, you know? You just got to keep, you know, climbing up and figuring it out and never giving up. And it makes such a difference for your legacy, right? And I think what's interesting is you're doing it in so many different ways. One of the questions I have is, for every 100 people who cross your path, who ask you for advice, whether it's informally or through Baltimore Dynamic Women or as one of your employees who's trying to do their own thing, of every 100 people who want to be like you, how many do you think actually do take your advice or launch off on their own? And what's the difference between them and the ones who can't get it together?
Probably 10%. Because it's a lot of people, you have to be a risk taker. Some people are not risk takers and they're comfortable. And when you propose ideas or you try to instill different techniques, try to give them different techniques, it's kind of hard for them to cope with, because a lot of women still have the 9 to 5 mentality, right? And there's nothing wrong with having a 9 to 5 mentality. It's just that you have to be a risk taker. If you're not going to take any risks, then you're going to be stagnant, right? So you can't grow. I always tell them that if you want to grow your business and if you want to start, you have to start from somewhere. You can't have 1 foot in and 1 foot out. You got to be all the way invested in it. And I think that this is the most challenging part with certain women, because they're so conditioned to living from paycheck to paycheck. And sometimes you have to make sacrifices. Sometimes you're not going to be able to go out there and eat steak today. You might have to eat some sandwiches, right? So they have to be willing to make those certain sacrifices.
I love that. It's so funny. I literally just told my kids they wanted something like very large. And I was like, look, I'll be honest with you. I'm not working past 50. And getting that would not help my goal.
Yeah.
You have to sacrifice along the
Yeah.
way, but that doesn't mean you can't have fun. We all have a lot of fun in different
Right.
ways, but you have to strategize your fun. And you said something, as women, conditions, right? I think that's really interesting, because you have built businesses in industries that are very male dominated, like luxury cars, substance abuse factories, U-Haul franchises. Franchises in general are very male dominated. How have you navigated spaces like these where you're underestimated, not just as a woman, but as a Black woman?
Well, definitely in the car business, because we know that is male dominant. When I come in there, they used to look at me like,
They would look at you. No, it's so embarrassing. And they would look at you, as they should in a lot of ways,
Yeah.
someone who doesn't know what they're talking about. As someone, when I got my first Mercedes, maybe or maybe not, my first question was, can I get a personalized license plate? And my brother, who was helping me negotiate, was like, Nancy, if you don't shut up. But unfortunately, there's a truth to every stereotype. We're all getting better.
Right.
But I'm sure they didn't know what to expect. You, the entrepreneur, or you, the girl who wants the personalized license plate?
They didn't know what to expect when I got into the industry. And it was so funny because, of course, I didn't know what I was doing when I got into it. I had a mentor that helped me, and I was calling him like maybe every 5 minutes. And a lot of times, some of the cars would have issues, and I gotta get under actually open the hood and check the oil, and I'm like, what is this? I had to plug up a machine to the car to find out, what was going on in the car. I have been under cars, and I would never have thought that I would be doing that, right? But it comes with the business, right? It comes to the territory. I had to get a little dirty, right? So in order for me to be successful in that business, I had to understand the business, and that's what getting dirty came with it. And so with that, it was very interesting for me, because I had to make connections with repair shops. We know that's male dominant. You go to a repair shop, they telling you all this stuff is wrong. But I have no idea what these people talking about,
But you can't let them know that.
Exactly.
You can't let them know.
Right.
You'd be like,
I just would go and I'd be like, okay, so I would take it back to my mentor, and then he would go, and sometimes he would come with me. So he did train me a lot in the car business, and the same thing with the substance abuse facility. just creating those relationships with people that your competitors, people that are in those industries where you can you can call them and you can get advice for them, or they can come over and they can help you. So relationships is very important in partnerships, because you never know. Like I'm not an expert. I would claim to be an expert in the childcare industry, but as far as the car business first starting out and substance abuse, I was not an expert. So I did need a consultant. I did need partnerships and people that I could develop those relationships with.
Where do you find these mentors? Because and how do you foster those relationships? I find a lot of people think that it's just simple, it's just going and asking, but it's a nuance to these types of relationships.
I would say it's easy to find them now because of social media, because everybody markets everything that they do. So I would say definitely through social media, of course through Google, word of mouth. When people start to realize what you do and they start to learn about your business, it gets out there very fast. So one word of mouth, and then you develop the relationships. Everybody starts talking. It's good to have a network of people that are in your actual industry. It doesn't hurt to do any type of cold calling. I know when I first started out, I started out with cold calling because when I was in multi-level marketing, that's what I learned. So I just took the techniques that I learned and applied them. I said, let me reach out to some people. I didn't know these people, never met these people a day in my life. But just like I say, being a risk taker, telling them, introducing yourself, you create those relationships. And that's basically what happened with my journey.
You make it sound so simple, but it's not.
It's not simple.
It's not simple. What has been the hardest lesson in business you've learned so far?
I think with growth and expansion, that has been my challenges. To go from a small business to trying to build a corporation or trying to franchise is a lot. It can be very challenging at times because you have when you have a lot of competitors, right? It's hard to keep up with your competitors that have been in business for 50 to 100 years, right? You have to if you're trying to expand, you might have to have different compensation packages, right? You might have to have a different business packages. And that can be very challenging because your company, you're just not there yet, to provide those high level compensation plans. And so when you're trying to grow your business, you might have to bring on like fractional CEOs. You might have to bring on fractional CFOs. And in order to do that, you have to have money. These childcare industries, they have been in business 50 to 100 years. So you have to be creative and how you can expand. And that's what I'm going through right now. I'm expanding. I'm creating a franchise model, and it's a lot of work, and has become challenging a little bit because of the compensation packages or that I'm offering to my employees. I might not be able to do what my competitors can, but I can have incentives, and so that's what I'm doing now, but it's working.
It's absolutely working, and it's also, you have to start. You have to do it. There's so few people like you in this world doing any kind of franchise, let alone a childcare franchise. And it's difficult, but it's not impossible. So,
Right.
What does your vision look like in your mind for your Sandbridge franchises 5 to 10 years from now?
My vision is to be the world's leading childcare provider. And so right now I have 6 facilities. I'm gonna do 2 more facilities, 8, independently owned, and then I'm gonna start my franchise. I want everyone to follow the Sandbridge model. As I've always say that Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, Subway, kind of use their technique, but my own technique, meaning like keep the floor plan looking the same, right? Keep the decorations, the decor the same. Do all of those things. And I believe in about 5 to 10 years from now, I know that there'll be Sandbridges everywhere. I know I'll be looking in different states like, oh, that's me right there. I would like to be international as well. And so that is my goal, to be the leading childcare provider and provide quality services. It's very important that you provide quality services to aid the parents so that your vision and your name will always be out there.
And like we talked about earlier, one of the things that separate you from most of the competitors, even the ones who've been around for a century, is your extended hours.
Hmm.
Midnight minimum, 24 hours. Why do you think other companies don't invest in these extended hours the way that Sandbridge is?
I think because of the staffing, it can be difficult to have overnight staff or to have staff on the weekend. I believe that that has been a main issue. No one has took the time out to think of creative ways or creative ideas to be able to get those staff to come in overnight and to come in on the weekends. I would say that's the number one issue.
Well, I'm excited that you're solving it because I think if you crack that code, the sky is the limit.
Yes, yes. And if you're offering other opportunities, like for instance, I have a lot of executives now in my company and a lot of administrators that want to start their own franchise. And they want to buy into a franchise, I'm sorry, and they're waiting for me to franchise it. So that's exciting to know that you have executives in your organization that want to buy into your franchise and open up their own sandwiches.
That's so important. And because, like, it has to do with your legacy. Like you said, you want to be able to go to Paris and see a Sandbridge. And
Yeah.
so, like, aside from that, like, with the whole package of who you are, when you think about your legacy, both as a mom, as an entrepreneur, what impact do you want your sons, your community to remember you for?
I want my community to remember me for Miss Sanders always lent a helping hand. Whatever that she could do to help us, down to getting childcare scholarships, down to getting certain services for their children, as well as, helping them with, applications. Even when it comes to business, I've had some parents, want to start their own business that I was able to be a mentor with and kind of guide them. So I would love for them to recognize to me like she never said no. She always, had an open heart. She always had open hands. Anything that she could do, she was able to, assist us and our families.
Okay, so we are all proud of you. There are many people who, really want to follow in your footsteps. What is the one bit of advice for anyone listening who's encouraged, who also wants to set their own schedule, but work really hard and have their own thing and provide for their children and have the ability to pay for their expensive tastes? What is your one bit of advice to anyone listening who kind of just doesn't even know where to begin?
My one bit of advice would be to start a vision board, start your business plan, actually do your research to understand the business. Once you do that, make the determination and definitely say, this is what I want to do. Start your business plan. Get with a mentor. You can get with someone like myself. My plan is to be the childcare mogul, and I'm going to start offering workshops. I'm going to start offering seminars, different things like that to help people get in business. So I do plan to do that very soon. People can reach out to me. They can reach out to me on Instagram or they can reach out to me on Facebook. I would not mind helping them get themselves started, giving them pointers. I would say that if you know somebody that has a child care facility, go visit that child care facility. Go sit down, go talk to them, see what their daily life is like running the child care. Say, ask them about their operations, maybe, interview them. That way you'll have a clear understanding of what the business entails. And once you make that determination, then, reach out. You can reach out to a consultant. I am going to start doing consultant services. So you can reach out to someone like me that would definitely invest their time to help an individual get started in this industry.
I love it. Okay, make sure you give the actual handles, Keanna. Tell everyone where they can find you and your endeavors. I know you said different social medias and your website, but can you tell us the exact handles and URLs?
Yes, you can find me on Facebook at Keanna Sanders, which is spelled Keanna, Sanders, Sanders. And you can also find me on Instagram at B as in boy, D as in dog, W as in Wendy Socialite.
I love it. Thank you for being here with us. You are such an inspiration. That 10% of people who were able to take your advice have thrived, but also everyone listening. It's all inspiring. You never know how things hit. And even if you don't end up becoming a child care mogul like Keanna, you never know how she and her journey will inspire you. So take what you can, and we appreciate you being so gracious and kind with all of your advice and sharing your story.
Thank you so much.
And thank you all for listening to and watching Mompreneurs. As a reminder, a brand new episode goes live every Monday on Urban One Podcast Network, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Visit urban1podcast.com to learn more. That's urban, the number one, podcast.com.